So somebody asked how I keep all of my mods in CC so organized, and actually honestly the way I do it is by having a ton of Sims 4 folders. So there's this one that has no mods in it, and in order to make sure this is what the game or EA has access to when I'm not playing, I will put this unmodded version first. Nothing in here, nothing exciting. And if you don't have one of these, all you have to do is just rename your Sims 4 folder. Like I have my builds folder so that I'm building without any CC. If I don't want to build without CC, I have my medieval folder, and I have my modern save folder, so you would just rename it something like that. For most people, you could probably just say mods. And then you would go into EA here. This is also a really good thing to do when EA has an update, because now it has no opportunity to touch your modded Sims 4 folder. So let's go ahead, download and install, let that run for a second here. But this is another thing, is EA's a little bit glitchy, because the next thing I was going to show you can be affected by updates like this, which is another way to protect your mods folder. But just renaming it and having the unmodded folder be what's active when you're not playing is a really great way to go ahead and protect your mods in CC. I'm gonna go ahead and pause myself in this tutorial because watching this back, I realized I forgot to tell you guys that if you want to have a new Sims 4 folder, you just need to go ahead and launch the Sims 4. This actually works for all of the games though, if you were needing a new folder for them. And this can help fix a lot of bugs. Sometimes when you've updated your game with mods and CC attached, it corrupts files that shouldn't have been touched. It's a little bit hard to explain because I don't have like the greatest technical knowledge of it, but basically if you've ever updated your game with mods or CC still intact in the folder, sometimes that can corrupt other files within the folder that, you know, aren't mods in CC. And so you may have created issues that way, and by creating a new Sims 4 folder and copying over your saves, your tray, your option INI, and your mods folder, you'll be able to alleviate some of those issues because you'll have generated completely new fresh files. So anyways, I thought I would mention that to you guys because that is another thing that I do to kind of fix any weird bugginess that I can't quite get to go away by, you know, updating my mods. So that's another option, is just a new Sims 4 folder and moving that stuff there. Anyways, I'm rambling. Go ahead and get back into the tutorial. Another thing we can do once we're inside the EA app is we can go into settings here, and I have not done this in a while, so give me a second because sometimes I forget. Make sure you don't have this open on startup, don't install updates automatically, and then I also disable in-game overlay, but that's because it causes issues with Sims 3, not Sims 4 when it comes to reshade. And then, where is it? Update games automatically in the download tab. You also want this off. Sometimes this will glitch out, which is why I say you should have that other Sims folder as like a failsafe to protect your mods in CC. Let's go ahead and get into maintaining the folders themselves. So I have my medieval one here. This one's a few years old, and it is heavily modded. It has so much CC, but you would want to go ahead and just delete those cache files. I like how I did it without telling you guys anything. Anyways, anything that has the cache in the file name, just go ahead and delete those anytime you add or remove a CC and mods. And if you didn't know how you can see, like, you see how this one says like .ini, or this one says like .txt, this one up here says .package. If you go up here to view, down to show, you can click file name extensions, which is really helpful for when we go into our mods folder because you will want to see that. Anyways, you can also safely delete anything in the online thumbnail cache, just don't delete the folder. And in this cache stra, whatever you want to call it. Just make sure the only thing in here is the spotlight in us package. And then honestly, I don't really touch anything else in here. You could, of course, you know, delete your screenshots or relocate them if you're, you know, keeping a lot of recorded videos or screenshots. I personally don't, but those will slow down your game over time, so definitely remove them. Alrighty, into the mods folder. So one of the ways I like to organize this is by changing how it appears. Normally it would just be like an insanely long list down the bottom, right? But I go ahead and sort by name, ascending, and I group by name as well. So if we turn this off here, you can see that it like starts to change, it starts to look weird, right? So anyways, just make sure you have it grouped by name and ascending. And then I also like to view everything in a list. Normally it's kind of like this. And that just makes it easier for me. So I, again, just have everything grouped by name and ascending, and then I view everything in a list. And I make sure that I can see the file name extensions. Now, the reason I like doing this is because eventually something will break and you will need to do what is called the 50-50 method. Usually I'm able to figure out what it is pretty easily without doing the 50-50 method, but basically that's where you take like half your folder and then you would take it out of the game. So maybe you would create a file on your desktop that would be like testing, and then another file folder that says safe. So whatever loads, usually it won't be CC though. Like you see how these are package files? Usually it's not the package files that cause issues. Occasionally they do break on updates, but they won't break your game usually. For The Sims 4, I just usually group everybody by creator. Creators in The Sims 4 are really good at putting their name on everything in the same exact way. And even more so when they update their files, they name them the same thing and just tell you to grab a fresh copy if you already have it downloaded. And if you're downloading it for the first time, don't worry about it. So I just usually do everything by creator name, and that's worked really well for me. And you can see I have a ton of creators. Occasionally mods will make these extra files in here, but I don't worry about them at all. Now, mods is kind of where I get specific in the way that I organize these. I like to keep them all the way at the end. And the reason I like to keep my mods all the way at the end, or you could just put like a 1 in front of this, like if you see over here in the beginning, I have these files here for stuff that I've made, or for, you know, my family portraits and things that I've altered. I put in the front, but these mods here are easy for me to find. I know that at the very end, this is what I'm going to be going through and updating on, you know, whenever I update my game. And when we go in here, we kind of talked earlier that the package files are usually not what breaks your game. Usually these are fine. And you very rarely need to update them every single time. But if we go into, for example, UI cheats. UI cheats has something called TS4 script. These TS4 script files are usually what breaks because they alter the game's code, and when the game updates, it has a new code, right? So then the modders have to go in and create a new script to work with the game files. They don't always break. Usually they're fine for me. But like on a major update, these are generally broken. One of the things you could do if you didn't want to click through all of these is you could name them like underscore mods, and then whatever the script mod is called. I usually don't do that because I like going through and seeing everything, but that could be an option, and that could be something that would work well for you. So like all of the Twisted Mexi mods would need it, UI cheats, Lumpino, Lot 51, I think Little Blowbub as well as like Healthcare Redux, Pandasama's Childbirth mod. All of those could be at the end, and you would know every single time that the game updates. These are the very important mods that you need to focus on because they have a TS4 script file in them. But yeah, that's more or less how I make sure my stuff is organized. The only thing I can super strongly recommend to you guys outside of that is potentially having a master list. Now, I know a lot of people really only expect creators themselves to have these, but it is so easy on update day to just go into my mods folder and just start grabbing these like crazy, because these are all my mods in my game. And you know, I don't need all of these, like the aesthetic ones I very rarely need to check, maybe only on like a major update day, but this just makes it a lot easier. You know, I can go ahead, I can go here, I can check and see if all of the romance, pregnancy, and overhaul mods are updated, and you know, then I can go and grab a fresh copy instead of typing things in a million times, and it just kind of speeds up the process. But yeah, just a thought that you guys could potentially make your own master lists for your own mods, and you don't necessarily have to share them like I have done. I think the only thing else outside of that I can do is just show you another trick that makes downloading stuff faster. So let me go ahead and go in here. Oh, and you guys know how I just closed that? If you hold Control-Shift-T, it will reopen any tab that you've recently closed, which I think is so cool. So like if I just wanted to get back to my Tumblr where I just was, I could just hit Control-Shift-T. I often do that so much when I'm like going through CC folders. I accidentally closed something I didn't mean to. So again, just Control-Shift-T. For example, if I had my mods folder and then I closed it and I wasn't quite done with it, just Control-Shift-T, it reopens it. So that's nice. That's a nice little quality of life keyboard shortcut. Anyways, I wanted to, again, just show you guys something that maybe a lot of you didn't know, and I'm going to use Limpano again just because I know that this is a massive mod with a lot of files. So when we go in here, they'll tell you like all the required mods, and I'll just open everything in a new tab, and then I'll grab all the files, right? And then I'll scroll all the way down and just start downloading stuff. All of these things right here. And the reason I want to show you guys is I notice a lot of people using WinRAR, specifically when they don't need to, and I don't particularly like WinRAR. It's okay, but I wanted to show you guys one of the nice things about 7-zip is A, it doesn't spam you with a ton of ads, but also if you highlight things, you can go to show more options, a 7-zip, and extract to here, and you could open it like that and it'll just pop out all of the files like that. Or let's say maybe you wanted these to all be in a file. Again, go down to show more and extract to here. This little asterisk slash is kind of like a visual placeholder that's often used in tech, and it's just when it has too many names, that's what it means. It's like if I was to click on just one of these and say show more, then it would say extract and it knows the exact name. So that asterisk and slash is often used as a physical placeholder. And again, say you were going through this really quickly for CC. CC is always going to be a package file, so you could come up to the top here and just grab the package file, and that can be really nice when CC creators think they're being helpful by organizing the CC for you in a way that doesn't make sense for your organization system. So this can be a really nice way of getting around that instead of clicking through a million subfolders that are annoying. Also to avoid the pictures that they tend to put in the files. And then you'll quickly have that. And again, I just organize everything by creator, because usually what I do when I'm downloading is I go through a specific creator and I just grab everything they have that I like. So usually that's easiest for me, but again, just about every Sims 4 creator is really good about putting their name on everything that they create in the same way every time. So it's very easy to grab their content and then just shove it in a folder for them. So again, that's my ideal way of grabbing their content and then keeping it organized. It's also nice because, you know, some of these creators like QICC I use in like every Sims 4 mods folder that I have, so I can just grab this folder and I can copy it over to my other folder if I download a bunch of stuff. So again, that's just what works best for me. Some people like to organize by a specific item. I think that's annoying and tedious, and I'm never going to do that, but you could also organize it that way if you want to be like, oh, this is a create a sim. Let me create a new folder so I can show you what I'm talking about. So a lot of people will be like, hey, create a sim, female, and then they'll be like, hair, and I find that annoying. I think that started from another YouTuber, and a lot of people have clung to that. I don't really find it to be necessary for The Sims 4. I have had way too much coffee because I am anxious for no reason, but I am sure that comes from a time when Sims content creators were not good about putting their name on anything, but it's not really a concern with The Sims 4. So yeah, this is more or less how I keep everything organized across multiple folders, files, whatever. And again, I just keep this non-modded Sims 4 folder up front. This can also be nice. So say, you can kind of see how I have it over here with The Sims 3, but say I was having an issue with specifically my medieval folder, I can then grab this, right? And something I might do, oh, and of course when you change this, then you need to change it back. So let me go ahead and group everything by name and ta-da! And so one of the things that I see a lot of people also struggling with is just how annoying and tedious it is. If you were just to take these and go back to your electronic arts folder, into your mods folder, and then copy this over. Oh, you can see I've already done it too, so clearly I had an issue before. But yeah, you just copy over your mods folder, and then your load times will be a lot faster, and you won't be struggling with like your CC adding to the time that you're trying to test stuff. But yeah, that's more or less how I do everything and how I keep my folders up to date. Another thing I could strongly suggest is just simply, oops. Oh, that's right, it updated. Okay. I was like, what happened? Anyways, yeah, another thing that I can strongly suggest is just don't update your game on update day. Maybe wait like a week or two between updates, especially because like with the marketplace update that just happened, it broke CC entirely, and a lot of people were upset. And I feel like this is only an issue in the Sims community, and I'm just not sure if that's because maybe you guys don't understand how updating a game works and how mods affect the game. But mods are reliant on the game's code, and when developers update the game, they're changing the code, and then so the mods don't work, right? So if you just wait and don't change the game of the code by not updating, then your mods and CC will still work. You'll avoid any bugs. They happen in any game. I play other games that aren't owned by EA, and they have bad updates sometimes. It happens, is what it is. But with Sims specifically, you have the option to not update. And that is honestly really, really nice because you can continue playing by going over here and then just going offline, hit yes, I'm sure, and then you can just play. Also, if you guys remember earlier when I was having you guys do the settings here, I had you guys turn off open on startup. There's a reason for that. The EA app is notoriously glitchy, and one of the nice things about not having it open on startup is sometimes it forgets the download setting that you set where you don't want your games to update automatically. So if it's not opening on startup, you have the opportunity to turn off your internet connection to your computer before you launch the EA app, then keeping the Sims 4 game from updating. I know it's a little unfortunate. I will agree that the EA app is not the best. It is just kind of something we have to deal with. But yeah, it does really help protect your saves. I've had, you know, no issues with my saves being corrupted because an update happened when I didn't want to, or I wasn't really forced into an update. And even if I was forced into an update, it still didn't get the opportunity to corrupt my save because, again, in my file explorer, I have the non-modded Sims 4 file. So that's honestly how I go about, you know, protecting it. Yeah, this was a super informal tutorial, but I just kind of wanted to go over fixing your mods folder and then more so how to not break it in the first place, and that is honestly the best way I know how to go about it. And then just, you know, making the process, what was that? Anyways, the process less tedious, and maybe help understand a little bit more what's breaking your game and how you can avoid that. I don't even feel like this outro is very formal, but yeah. But yeah, outside of that, I just wanted to go ahead and give a disclaimer at the end here that I am a casual player. I am not tech support, so maybe there's a better way of doing things, maybe there's not. This is just how I go about things and how I manage my stuff, and it's worked for me. I don't have any issues with any of my stuff, and maybe it will help somebody else potentially fix and protect their content moving forward, which is always nice. And yeah, that's about it.